All right, welcome back to Virtual School Assembly today. Our guest is Anil Gupta. Now, Anil overcame suicide in 2008, and since then, he has formulated the happiness formula, spoken on Fox News, Harvard, Sky TV, TEDx. He's written a best-selling book, Immediate Happiness, and founded the Happiness Score. He's created his perfect partner program without dating for singles struggling in relationships, and performs his relationship and mindset workshops in over 18 countries and translated in 8 languages with audiences of over 10,000 fans. Anil, you are keeping busy, man.
No, I've been very blessed to have gone through adversity, because adversity is your friend. And this is one of the things that we need to teach our children. Adversity isn't a bad thing. It's not what happens in life, it's who you become. And, you know, when I was going through that difficult period, I did one thing that changed my life, which was this: I started to give. In the moment you give authentically, without wanting anything in return, all the pain and suffering disappears. So I know that you may be going through difficult times. I know you may be having issues and adversity and trials and tribulations, but know that if you just do one thing, and that's to give authentically from the heart, when you give, all that will disappear, and then you start feeling better. You know, it's one of the greatest things I did was to start to give, and then I started to help more people. So I started helping 6 people, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 10,000 people in a bull ring in Medellin, Colombia. And there's another sentence that changed my life, and this sentence is this: be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter, because how you show up on this planet will be this magnificent soul. That one sentence allowed me to help people like Mike Tyson get on Richard Branson's island, meet billionaires, millionaires, kings, queens, princesses, tycoons, professional athletes. Be so amazing you cannot be ignored. And every day, if every day you get slightly better at something, the compounding effect of that over a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years will be incredible. Einstein said the greatest force on this earth is compounding interest. He was wrong. The greatest force on this earth is actually compounding. The decisions you make today will determine how you spend the rest of your life. If you decide to take on a new habit today, if you decide to be more productive, if you decide to be more caring, more loving, more generous, more playful, I promise you, over a week, a month, a year, the benefits will be huge, not just to you, but the people around you. And there is greatness inside of you. You may think that there's not, but there is something great inside of you. And you just have to ask, what am I great at? What is it? What is my gift? How can I help other people? Because that's what we're here for, helping other people. And really, I had to get out of my own way. And it wasn't about me, it's about who I became. And I really realized that it's not about me. It's about the difference I make. So ask yourself, what difference could you make? How could you show up differently? Could you be nicer to your parents? Could you be nicer to your friends? How could you show up differently? By asking better quality questions, you get better quality answers. And another thing that really was very profound for me was what other people thought of me. So here's one sentence: what other people think of you is none of your business. So a friend of mine said, hey, Neil, why don't you do an event? And I said, well, I'd like to, but I'm scared. He said, what are you scared of? I said, well, what happens if no one turns up? He said, look, Anil, if no one turns up, no one will know. I said, great, I did it, you know? And sometimes you have to take the plunge. You know, I go swimming after playing tennis, and I would always put my foot in the water just to test. And I thought, Anil, why don't you just jump in? And I talked to myself, well, that might be cold. What happens if it's cold? Well, I just have to swim out. Why don't you do that? Well, okay. And then I just jump in. And it's still fearful, but that's the definition of courage. When you're a little bit fearful and you still do it. And as human beings, we love to be comfortable. But we never grow if we're comfortable. So we have to get comfortable about being uncomfortable, and we have to get uncomfortable about being comfortable. That's when we get the biggest growth, when we're in an uncomfortable situation. And you may be in an uncomfortable situation. I promise you, just become a different person and everything will change for you. Be patient. Infinite patience produces immediate results, meaning if you know that you're going to get the results, you don't have to get upset. You can be ready, willing, and able to really show up differently. And at the end of the day, you are the common denominator in wherever you go. So wherever you go, you go. You are in charge of your life. It's your life. Seize the day, take charge, and everything will happen for you. Today's the day. Seize the day.
Awesome. What a great message, Anil. And I know what you're saying is true because I've experienced a lot of this just in the last few months. You know, when you talk about when things aren't going so well, give. Well, that's exactly, for me, this was supposed to be a banner year. 2020, on March 13th, I had it circled on my calendar. That was the day I was going to give my TED Talk. And I was so excited, and I, had worked up to this big stage. And then on May 12th or March 12th, the day before, that's when they called and canceled and said, cancel your flight. Don't come to San Francisco. We're not going to have the event because of the coronavirus. And I was really depressed and rejected for a short period of time. But from that same period, that's when I launched Virtual School Assembly, and I decided I can share my message with others, and I can get other inspirational people like you on this show to inspire and to help others. And just like you noted in being amazing, I've now had the opportunity to talk to Olympians, professional athletes, Hollywood actors and actresses, and now to share this time with you. And it's been such a blessing and an opportunity in my life, even though I felt I was doing it to give to my students and to help other kids out. It's actually been a real blessing in my own life where I've been so fulfilled in these last few months. So I know that works. I want to ask you a little bit, you didn't address this in your message, but tell us a little bit about the happiness score. Tell us about your book and what you do with the happiness score.
So there is a formula for happiness, which is happiness is equal to G cubed. The first G is give. We spoke about that. Give your time, your energy, your love, your commitment, your joy, your gift, your money. Give it away. The second G is gratitude. So Tyler, if you look at your hands, when was the last time you thanked them?
Thanked my hands?
Yeah. What have they done for you? Everything. Yeah. These are the important things. See, people focus on what they've lost or what they haven't got. But, these are the important things. Your eyes, your teeth, your skin, everything. So the small things are the big things. And the third G is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. If you do those three things, your life will change.
That's such great advice. It's funny with the hands, as you brought that up, I was thinking, when was the last time I thought for my hands? And actually last night, before my youngest daughter, she's 6, and before she went to bed, she does her nightly prayers. And I was in the room and she said her prayers. And when she got done, she said, Dad, how come I always say the same thing in my prayers? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you grateful for the same things? And I said, what are we grateful for today? And we went through, well, we got to eat pizza. And she was really excited. She got to have pizza. And we got to play together as a family and do things. And we started listing some of those things that we do take for granted. I haven't thought about my hands in a long time. And so that practice of gratitude, and it doesn't have to be through prayer. It can just be being grateful, right? But just that practice, that does bring us a lot of happiness and a lot of joy in your life. So I totally can relate to that. Now, fantastic. Anil, you have talked to some really cool people in the last few years. I was looking at your website and, saw you with Richard Branson and Mike Tyson and things like that. As you've met with influential people, have you found that they are more or less happy than normal people? Or what is it that makes a difference for them in their success?
Well, again, it's the same formula. Mm-hmm. Give, grow, gratitude. So let's look at Richard Branson. He's always giving, he's always grateful, and he's always growing. So, beautiful human being. He's not focused on money. He's focused on making an impact on the planet. So, but I've met very, very successful people who are egocentric. So they were, focused on themselves, and they're not happy. And right. I know why, because they're not giving, and they're not grateful, and they're not growing. So although, this is the ultimate failure, is you can be very successful, but not fulfilled. And it's very painful for very successful people who've got money, but they don't have the relationship, or they don't have the health, or they don't have the camaraderie, or they don't have the gift of giving and the gift of gratitude and the gift of growing. So really, it's not anything to do with money. It's just those 3 Gs: give, grow, gratitude. It's so simple.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think though, we have kids who are at home right now who, when we say, okay, well, you just need to be gratitude or be grateful and express gratitude. That's something they can wrap their heads around. And giving, that's a pretty easy thing. They can find opportunities to give. The growing part, I think, is a little harder. Do you have any advice on things that we can regularly be doing to make sure that we're growing?
Yeah. So how old is your daughter? 6.
6. I actually have 4 children, but she's my youngest.
Okay. So what's the greatest gift you could give your children?
Time.
Nope.
I don't know then. You'll have to tell me the answer.
Okay. This is going to be profound for you. The greatest gift you can give your kids is this: give them the ability to handle life by throwing adversity at them that they can reasonably handle.
Mm-hmm.
So when Richard Branson was 5 years old, he was thrown, maybe placed in the middle of a field and told to get home. I wanted to do the same with my kids. My wife wouldn't agree, obviously. So we took them into central London and told them to get home. So, and every time we could, we would throw adversity at them. So for example, your 6-year-old, you could take her for a walk and go a mile away from home and say, honey, I want you to walk home and guide me home. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. So it gives her the confidence in the future, if ever she gets lost, say, you know what, I know exactly what to do. So we constantly have to throw adversity. That's what happens in nature. This is what we do as human beings, and we're bringing up entitled kids.
So you're suggesting that we actually make opportunities for adversity. We don't just wait for it to happen to us.
Yeah, you see, you have to curate it. Why wait? They may not be ready. So if you curate it, you create opportunities for them to go through adversity that they can reasonably handle. You can easily do it in the home. You can easily do it in the office. You can easily do it in the car, and give them the opportunity. So for example, if you're going out to dinner, we would ask one of the kids to order the meal. Sometimes they would get it wrong, which is fine.
Right.
Sometimes we don't have enough. Sometimes we have too much, but it's fine. And then we ask them to reassess, and we ask them to pay the bill and go and ask for directions, things like that. So, and it helps with their self-respect, with their confidence too.
That is, I'm going to have to think about this for a while and think about opportunities with my own children. That's very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Anil, as you've gone through your life, you've had a lot of ups and downs, and you've experienced these 3 Gs in your own life. Are there any moments of growth that you've seen as you look back that you're especially grateful for? Any things that happened to you in particular that you're really grateful you had that experience?
Well, obviously the big one is in 2008 when I was suicidal, but I also had other opportunities. We had a business, and someone very close to us didn't behave with great sincerity and authenticity and integrity, and they tried to steal the business away from us. At the time, it was very upsetting, but now I'm so grateful to them because they brought an awareness around to us, and that we could really get unattached from people we really shouldn't have in our lives. So, no matter what happens, there's always a golden lining. There's always something great that you can get from that situation. All you have to do is ask, what's great about this? What could I learn? What is the lesson here? And that gives you the opportunity to grow.
That's awesome. Well, Anil, thank you so much for your time today. If kids want to take the happiness quiz, or if they want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Well, if you go to myhappytest.com, okay, and my website is immediatehappiness.com.
Awesome. We'll link those in the description below. Thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.